Alright, out here working on the Trans Am. We're going to get these fuel lines plumbed. I guess Christopher's got all the fittings. We're about to find out. But yeah, filling up the stock tank with E85 for the first time. And there's a short line that goes from the tank to the filter and then to the pump. I'm going to gravity let that flow some through, and then I'm going to use the pump to because you want to pump stuff through all these lines before you actually hook them up to what they're going to, because when you make the lines sometimes you get some stuff in them. So yeah, I'm going to gravity about a half a gallon through that. Once I hook the filter up, I'll do the feed line and spray some through that, and then once we get the regulator and the feed hooked up, and then we'll do the same thing with the return out back the tank, and then all that'll be hooked up. And yeah, seeing that bucket was clean. That's how much I got out of just that short piece that goes from the tank to the filter to the fuel pump. So I wanted to put the regulator like right here, and these are 8 AM lines, but there was no way to put it in there with the fittings I had. It was just too wide. There wasn't no way I could do it unless I put it way out here, which wouldn't have been good. So I went ahead and put it right there. I already checked it. We'll clear the wheel. We got the feed coming in. I got these 2 ports blocked. I drilled and tapped one of these blocks to put this fuel gauge on. I might have to re-tap that. I'm not sure if I got it deep enough, but we'll see if it leaks. If it don't leak, we'll call it good. And then I come out these 2 ports with a 45 and a 90 up to the carburetor. And again, that's the feed and the return, and it's going to bolt right there. And I already checked it, clears the wheel just fine. But yeah, that's where it's going to go. And I went ahead and run the oil drain, and it's barely downhill, but it is downhill, and it runs over here to over here. Now unfortunately, when these head studs were leaking, I redid all these and that side under the valve cover because it was getting in the oil. Hopefully that didn't hurt anything, because it got in the oil pretty bad before we even noticed it. But I didn't do these bottom ones, and one of these bottom ones is leaking. I suspect it's one of these 2 right here. As you'll see, there's water on the ground. So I can just take this V-band off and take this header off, and then I'll do all these. And I'll probably do the same on the other side just in case. But I went ahead and drained the block, so that way when I take those head studs out, it doesn't shoot a bunch of water out. I don't know if you guys saw my last video, but you can drain the block from that little plug right there, right below that primary. Well, there's one on the other side too. That's the one I drained it from, so I didn't have to fight with the starter. But another problem I'm having is that fitting is leaking right there. And I mean, well, is it even leaking now? Yeah, it's leaking right there. I mean, and it is barely leaking. Yeah, it's still leaking. And I mean, it's barely leaking. I put this bucket in there last night, and it is leaking so slow that a drop will dry in this bucket before the next drop falls. But I mean, it is leaking, so probably gonna have to, I'll have to take this off and catch all the fuel that comes out, and maybe replace this fitting, or maybe just something got in there. I mean, it's possible that something got on that smooth surface, that little smooth surface that it seals on. That's the return line, by the way. And might just be that, and I might be able to just clean it off and put it back on. It might be good, but definitely got to fix that. But Willis, who y'all saw in my last video where I run a 10-2 for the 3rd place on the Screaming Eagles list, he's going to come over here later, because I It comes, the 12 AN comes from the tank up around, and then it goes to a filter. And Chris got the fittings for that, and I put the filter on the pump. It took a 10 orb to a 12 female, and then the filter had a 12 on it and it screwed on, and then I screwed the 12 AN line to the filter because it was 12. And then he got a 10 orb to a 10 AN. I put that line on, so that's done. For the fuel filter and pump, where's that? It's hiding. Yeah, okay. But then Willis will come over and I'll unhook this line, which this is the feed line, and I'll spray it into a bucket a little bit and get all the debris out of it. And then I can hook this up. Go ahead and tighten it down, it's not tight. And then I can unhook those two lines and put those in a bucket, and that's why I have the return line unhooked. I'll put it in a bucket, and then we'll run a little bit of fluid through these lines and the return line, and then I'll be able to hook everything up and tighten it up. There was already a hole here, and I just got a bolt in there. It doesn't even have a nut on it, but I'm going to space that out a little bit and put another bolt and washers in there to space it out, and a nut on the back side, and tighten it up, and that'll be done. And then on the boost controller, which my boost controller wasn't even working. I had it hooked up right. I hooked it up 2 different ways, and it would only, I don't know, I got those eBay wastegates, supposed to be a 7-pound spring. From what I understood, you should be able to go up to 7 pounds on a 7-pound spring with pressure going to the wastegates to help open them. And then when you take that pressure away, it should go up to 14. But I'm only getting 4 or 5 pounds boost with pressure going to the wastegates, and then no pressure going to the wastegates, I'm getting 8. So they're acting like they're 4-pound springs. But anyway, the boost controller I had hooked up correctly, it would only give me 4 pounds closed and then like 5 pounds wide open. So I don't know what that's about. I did take there's a check ball. So there's a small hole in this end and a check ball, you know, to keep pressure from coming back this way inside here, and a spring to help hold that there. So maybe I'll put that back in and see if that makes a difference. Plus, you know, that small hole. I was thinking, see, I put one of those fittings like that in mine on both sides, and I was thinking the more flow would mean more adjustment. So maybe I need to especially put this side back on with a restrictor hole. See, those got a smaller hole where the pressure comes in, and then a big hole where it comes out. And then when you unscrew this, it's supposed to release the pressure out these top holes, and then it increase boost. But mine's not working for some reason, so I'm gonna leave Christopher's the way it is. And this thing's really light, so I might just, we might not even hang it. I might just put it in line right there. But we'll see how that goes. And then also something else I did. He ordered like a 5 1/4 inch hole saw, and that's where he wanted the hole. So I put a hole in it. And what I'm gonna do is come out about 2 inches straight right here, and then this will stick in at an angle, and then I'll just weld it at an angle. I mean, you could do some of them little pie cuts or whatever they call it, but I don't know, there ain't no need for that. And then the wideband to go right here somewhere. But here's the pipe that he ordered. Let's stick it in there. Yeah, see, there's the pipe that he ordered, and it'll go in there just like that. And then I'll just cut that at an angle to weld right up to the 2-inch piece that I'm going to cut off the flange sticking straight out. So I'll have to take that flange off Actually, I think that's what I'm going to start on next, because I really can't do nothing with the fuel pressure regulator until Willis gets here, because someone has to hold them lines into the bucket while someone turns the pump off and on. I can't do both of those at the same time, so I'm going to need his help. And Chris also got a pretty little beauty ring. I can go ahead and drill and rivet that on. There's the beauty ring, and it came with some rivets. I just have to drill some holes, and I have to go buy a rivet gun because I don't have one. That's where we're at so far. So I think really the only thing I can do now until Willis gets here to help me purge them lines of debris is tack weld on. I'm not going to weld it because I suck at welding. I'm going to tack weld it. The downpipe that goes out the fender, and I'll have someone else weld it for me. Alright, I got Willis over here. And I told you guys he wins all the time. He got runner-up last night.
I'm going to win tonight, though.
In the sportsman class. He goes all the time. He's really good at it. I ain't won a trophy in ages. I used to go when I sucked at it, and I'd win all the time. And now I'm actually good at it, and I lose. Figure that one out. So Willis come over. He's going to cycle the pump for me. And I'm going to point that feed in a bucket down there. And then we're going to run some fluid through it. And then we're going to hook that up. Run some fluid through those and the one in the back. Then we can hook it all back up. And we do need a bigger... Chris was saying we need a bigger fuel pressure gauge. And I was like, why? That one's fine. But I see what he's saying now. It only goes up to 15 pounds. We're going to exceed that on the 1-to-1 when we're under boost. So that's what he was talking about. But yeah, I won't be able to hold the phone and do this, but that's what we're going to do. And I was drilling some holes for this. Going to rivet that on. I went to the store and got a rivet. I drilled a few holes. I almost put this in this way, but if you put it in this way and you take this off, it's really, really shiny under there. So put it that way. Well, Willis and I ran fuel through this one. We ran fuel through those. And when we went to go, we hooked it all up. And we went to run fuel through that one. And the pump quit working. And the battery is a little dead, so hopefully that's the reason. But there should be enough to run that pump. And that's not a good sign. I think that pump's already went out. So we're going to charge it and see if the pump will come back on. And then Willis is over here helping me snap this beauty ring on there. Yeah. We just riveted her in. Yeah, we got her good. So I unhooked all the lines from the end just to make sure there wasn't a restriction somewhere. Turn the pump on, it still ain't coming on. We charged the battery up. Nothing. Man, ain't that something? That's my luck. And I mean, it gravity emptied the tank. I had to put a couple of buckets under there and catch it all. It gravity emptied the tank, and as it was gravity emptying the tank, I hit it a few times. It still didn't come on. So I mean, it's set up like it should be. It's got the 100 micron filter. I mean, everything's like it should be. Aeromotive, you let me down.